The rumors exploded across social media in a matter of minutes. Did Kyle Cooke just quit Summer House? That was the question every Bravo fan was asking after the reality star dropped a cryptic Instagram post that looked a lot like a goodbye message. The post featured photos from the iconic Hamptons house and an emotional caption that immediately sent fans into panic mode. Kyle wrote, "End of an era," and reflected on wrapping up 10 seasons of the show. He even admitted that he was tearing up and described leaving the house as gut-wrenching. For longtime viewers, it sounded exactly like a farewell speech. And just like that, Bravo fans went into full meltdown mode. Comments started flooding in almost instantly. Some fans begged him not to leave. Others insisted there simply could not be a Summer House without Kyle Cooke. After all, he has been one of the original faces of the series since it premiered. Love him or hate him, Kyle has been at the center of the drama, the parties, the relationships, and some of the show's most unforgettable moments. But then things got even stranger. Only minutes after posting the message, Kyle edited the caption. Suddenly, the goodbye didn't sound so final anymore. He clarified that he wasn't announcing his exit from the show at all. "The show isn't canceled, and this is not me announcing I won't return," he wrote. "I was feeling emo." That explanation didn't exactly calm everyone down. In fact, many fans became even more frustrated. Some accused Kyle of intentionally stirring up drama. Others believed the emotional post was designed to create headlines and get people talking before the next season. And honestly, it worked. The internet exploded with theories. Was Bravo pushing out the original cast? Was Kyle stepping away voluntarily? Or was this simply an emotional reaction after one of the most difficult seasons of his life? Because, let's be real, this year has been brutal for Kyle Cooke. His separation from Amanda Batula completely changed the dynamics of Summer House. Their relationship had been a huge part of the series for years. Fans watched them date, get engaged, get married, and eventually struggle through very public problems. Then came the bombshell that nobody saw coming. Amanda and fellow cast member West Wilson revealed they were secretly dating. The announcement sent shockwaves through the fandom and created a massive divide within the cast. Kyle admitted he felt betrayed and struggled to process the entire situation. Suddenly, the man who had always been the life of the party looked emotionally exhausted. That's why some fans actually believed the Instagram post was genuine. They felt Kyle was saying goodbye to more than just a TV show. He was saying goodbye to an entire chapter of his life. 10 seasons. A marriage. Friendships. A version of himself that no longer exists. And if you read his original caption from that perspective, it makes a lot more sense. But not everyone was buying it. Many viewers blasted the post online, calling it confusing and unnecessary. They argued that if he wasn't leaving, why make the caption sound like a dramatic exit announcement in the first place? Others pointed out that reality television stars know exactly how social media works. They understand that vague and emotional posts generate engagement. The more mysterious the message, the bigger the reaction. And the reaction was enormous. Entertainment sites immediately started reporting that Kyle was quitting. Social media pages reposted the caption. Fans began writing tributes as if the end of an era had officially arrived. Then came the clarification. For some people, the damage had already been done. The incident also sparked bigger questions about the future of Summer House itself. Season 11 is reportedly going through major cast changes. Wes Wilson is no longer expected to return full-time, and there have been reports suggesting that Kyle may also scale back his involvement to focus on business projects and new opportunities. Meanwhile, Bravo appears to be reshaping the series after one of its most controversial seasons ever. That uncertainty is exactly why Kyle's Instagram message hit such a nerve. Fans are already nervous about the future of the franchise. Losing original cast members could completely change the show's identity. So when Kyle posted what looked like a farewell, many people assumed the worst. At the moment, however, there is no official confirmation that Kyle Cooke has quit Summer House. In fact, Kyle himself says the opposite. But if there's one thing this entire situation proved, it's that viewers are deeply invested in his future on the show. Whether they adore him or can't stand him, fans simply cannot imagine Summer House without him. And maybe that's why the post became so controversial. It wasn't just another Instagram caption. It felt like the possible ending of a Bravo era. For now, Kyle says he was simply emotional and reflecting on 10 years of memories. But in the unpredictable world of reality television, things can change very quickly. So the question remains, was this really just an emotional post from a man going through a difficult chapter of his life? Even after Kyle insisted that he wasn't leaving Summer House, the controversy surrounding his Instagram post refused to die down. The reason is simple. Fans have seen this story before. Reality stars often deny exit rumors, only to announce their departures weeks later. That's why many viewers weren't convinced by Kyle's explanation. They believed there was more happening behind the scenes than he was willing to reveal. And honestly, the timing of the post couldn't have been worse. The cast is already facing major uncertainty. Several long-time friendships have fallen apart, relationships have ended, and the future direction of the show remains a huge question mark. So, when one of the franchise's biggest stars suddenly posted an emotional message about the end of an era, fans naturally assumed something major was about to happen. Social media quickly turned into a battlefield. One group of fans defended Kyle, saying he has every right to feel emotional after spending a decade on the show. They argued that 10 years of memories, friendships, and life-changing moments would make anyone sentimental. But another group wasn't nearly as sympathetic. Some viewers accused him of creating unnecessary drama. Others claimed the post was a calculated move to keep himself in the headlines while the future of the series remains uncertain. A few fans even called the situation attention-seeking, arguing that Kyle knew exactly how people would react. And here's the thing, whether that was his intention or not, the reaction proved just how important he still is to the franchise. Because imagine Summer House without Kyle Cooke. No wild theme parties. No late-night speeches. No unforgettable arguments. No chaotic moments that somehow turn into iconic television. For better or worse, Kyle has always been one of the engines that keeps the show moving. That's why even the possibility of his departure created so much panic. Some fans began sharing their favorite Kyle moments online. Others admitted they had criticized him for years, but couldn't imagine the series continuing without him. There were even calls for Bravo to do whatever it takes to keep the original cast together. At the same time, speculation about the show's future continued to grow. Industry insiders have been talking about possible cast shakeups for months. Some reports suggest producers are considering fresh faces to keep the series moving forward, while others believe the network wants to maintain at least a few original stars to preserve the identity of the show. That puts Kyle in a very interesting position. After 10 seasons, he has nothing left to prove. He's no longer the young guy partying every weekend in the Hamptons. He's now a businessman, an established reality television personality, and someone whose life has changed dramatically since the series first premiered. Many fans believe he may simply be outgrowing the show. Others think the emotional events of the last year have completely changed his priorities. And honestly, that's a possibility that can't be ignored. Reality television can be exhausting. Living your personal life in front of cameras year after year takes an emotional toll on anyone. Relationships become storylines. Friendships become headlines. Every mistake becomes public conversation. After a decade of doing that, maybe Kyle is starting to wonder what comes next. That's why some fans interpreted his post as something much deeper than an announcement about a TV series. To them, it looked like a man reflecting on an entire chapter of his life and realizing that things will never be the same again. Because they won't. The cast has changed. The relationships have changed. Even the show itself feels different than it did in the early seasons. And perhaps that's what Kyle meant by calling it the end of an era. Not necessarily the end of his time on Summer House, but the end of the version of the show that fans have known for years. Still, until Bravo makes an official announcement, all of this remains speculation. Kyle says he isn't leaving. There has been no confirmation from the network. And yet, fans remain skeptical. Because in reality television, emotional posts, cryptic captions, and surprise exits have become part of the game. For now, Kyle Cooke is still a member of the Summer House family. But after one Instagram post caused this much chaos, one thing is crystal clear. The The future of the show feels more uncertain than ever. And if Kyle ever does decide to walk away, the reaction this week proved exactly how massive that moment would be. As the online drama continued, another question started taking over fan discussions. If Kyle Cooke isn't leaving Summer House right now, could he be preparing for an exit in the near future? The speculation isn't completely random. Over the last few seasons, viewers have noticed a major shift in Kyle's personality. The man once known for staying up until sunrise and turning every weekend into a massive celebration seems different these days. He's become more reflective, more serious, and at times, noticeably tired of the constant drama surrounding the group. Some fans believe that's simply a sign of maturity. Others think it's evidence that his journey on the series may be approaching its natural conclusion. After all, reality television isn't something people usually do forever. Eventually, priorities change, careers evolve, friendships drift apart, and the things that once felt exciting begin to feel exhausting. For Kyle, the past year may have accelerated that process. His personal life has been under intense scrutiny, his relationships with several cast members have become increasingly complicated, and every social media post now seems capable of creating national headlines. That's a lot for anyone to handle. In fact, some viewers pointed out that Kyle's emotional message didn't sound like someone promoting a television show. It sounded like someone taking a moment to appreciate a chapter of life that may never exist in the same way again. And maybe that's why the post connected with so many people. Because even if you're not a reality television star, almost everyone has experienced the end of an era. A friendship changes. A relationship ends. A job comes to an end. Suddenly, you realize that something you once considered permanent has quietly become a memory. That's exactly the feeling many fans saw in Kyle's words. Still, others remain convinced there is more happening behind the scenes. Some have wondered whether Bravo executives are considering a major reboot of the franchise. Others believe contract negotiations could be playing a role in all the uncertainty. And, of course, there are those who think Kyle simply wanted to remind everyone how important he is to the series. The truth? At this point, only a handful of people know exactly what's happening. But one thing is undeniable. The reaction to the Instagram post revealed just how passionate the Summer House fanbase really is. Within hours, social media was flooded with emotional reactions. Some people begged Kyle to stay. Others said they would stop watching the show if he ever left. A few even admitted they had taken his presence on the series for granted until they thought he might actually be gone. That's a powerful response. Because in reality television, not every cast member leaves a lasting impact. Some disappear and are quickly forgotten. But Kyle's potential departure created genuine panic among viewers, and that says a lot about his importance to the franchise. Whether he's causing chaos, throwing a party, or getting into another unforgettable argument, he's been one of the defining personalities of Summer House since day one. And replacing that kind of presence isn't easy. Even if Bravo introduces new cast members, longtime fans know that chemistry can't simply be manufactured. The original group built years of memories together, and that history is one of the reasons viewers became so invested in the show. That's why every rumor about cast changes feels so significant. It's not just about one person leaving. It's about the possibility that an entire era of Summer House could be coming to an end. For now, though, Kyle Cooke remains part of the Bravo family. His message may have caused confusion. It may have sparked outrage. And it definitely sent fans into full panic mode. But officially, he hasn't walked away. At least not yet. Still, if this situation has proven anything, it's that audiences are preparing themselves for the possibility that major changes are ahead. Because after 10 seasons, nothing lasts forever. And sometimes, a single emotional Instagram post can remind everyone that even reality television's biggest stars eventually have to decide when it's time to turn the page. Until that day comes, fans will continue watching, waiting, and analyzing every clue. Because when it comes to Kyle Cooke and Summer House, one unexpected post was enough to make the entire Bravo universe wonder whether the party is finally nearing its end. Just when fans thought the drama was beginning to calm down, another debate started spreading across social media. If Kyle Cooke ever decides to leave Summer House, Who could possibly fill his role? For many viewers, the answer is simple: nobody. Since the first season, Kyle has been one of the most recognizable faces of the franchise. He wasn't just another cast member living in the Hamptons. He became the center of countless storylines, from explosive friendships and romantic struggles to unforgettable parties that define the show's identity. That's why his emotional post felt so much bigger than a simple Instagram update. It forced fans to imagine a future that many of them had never seriously considered. A future without Kyle. Some viewers admitted that they instantly felt nostalgic after reading his message. They started revisiting old clips from previous seasons and remembering how different the series looked during its early years. Back then, the cast seemed carefree. The friendships felt unbreakable. The weekends were all about fun and chaos. But as time passed, real life entered the picture. People got older. Relationships became more complicated. Careers expanded. And the carefree atmosphere that made the show famous slowly began to change. Kyle has lived through every single one of those transformations. In many ways, he represents the entire history of Summer House. That is exactly why his post hit fans so hard. Even if he wasn't announcing an exit, his words reminded everyone that the show has reached a major turning point. And turning points often lead to change. Some fans believe the series needs a fresh start with new faces and different storylines. Others argue that removing too many original cast members would destroy the chemistry that made the show successful in the first place. The debate has become one of the biggest topics in the Bravo community. Interestingly, a lot of viewers also started paying attention to Kyle's recent interviews and public appearances. Some noticed that he has been speaking more about personal growth and business goals than wild parties and reality television drama. That doesn't necessarily mean he's leaving, but it does suggest that his priorities may be evolving. After spending 10 years on television, that's completely understandable.
People change.
Dreams change. What seemed exciting at 30 may feel completely different a decade later. Perhaps that's the real story behind the Instagram controversy. Maybe it wasn't a farewell. Maybe it was simply a moment of reflection from someone realizing how much life has changed. And honestly, that feeling is something a lot of people can relate to. Still, the uncertainty surrounding the future of Summer House isn't going away anytime soon. Every new season brings fresh rumors, cast shakeups, and endless speculation. As long as there are unanswered questions, fans will continue searching for clues. And now, every move Kyle makes will likely receive even more attention. A photo gets posted, fans will analyze it. A cryptic caption appears, people will assume another big announcement is coming. An interview drops, viewers will search every sentence for hidden meaning. That's the reality of being one of Bravo's biggest stars. One emotional message turned into a full-blown internet storm. It dominated fan discussions, sparked headlines, and reignited questions about the future of one of reality television's most popular series. Yet despite all the chaos, one thing remains unchanged. Kyle Cooke is still here. No official departure has been announced. No goodbye episode has been confirmed. No final chapter has been written. But the reaction to this entire situation revealed something important. Fans may complain about him. They may criticize his decisions. They may even disagree with his actions on the show. But deep down, many of them can't picture Summer House without him. And perhaps that's why this story became such a massive talking point. Because for a brief moment, viewers thought they were witnessing the possible end of a television era. Whether that day comes next year, 5 years from now, or not at all, one thing is clear. Kyle Cooke's place in Summer House history is already secure. And after this unexpected social media frenzy, every fan now understands just how emotional his eventual goodbye could truly be. As the conversation continued online, some fans began asking an even bigger question. Has Summer House itself outgrown the version that viewers originally fell in love with? For years, the series was built around friendships, wild weekends, and unforgettable parties in the Hamptons. But today, the cast members are in completely different stages of life. Some are focused on relationships, others are building businesses, and a few are trying to figure out what their future looks like beyond reality television. And no one represents that evolution more than Kyle Cooke. The same person who once seemed determined to party forever now appears to be thinking about legacy, personal growth, and what comes next. That shift is one of the reasons his Instagram post created such an emotional reaction. People didn't just read his words.
They felt them.
Because whether they realized it or not, many viewers have been watching the end of an era unfold for several seasons. The friendships aren't exactly the same. The group dynamics have changed. Even the atmosphere of the house feels different from the early days. Some fans believe that's simply part of growing up. Others think it's a sign that the show may eventually need a complete reinvention. The possibility of Kyle leaving one day only adds to that uncertainty. After all, every long-running reality series eventually reaches a crossroads. Producers have to decide whether to keep familiar faces, introduce new personalities, or completely reshape the format. And that's where things get interesting. Because even though Kyle insists he's not quitting, his emotional message reminded everyone that nothing lasts forever. One day, the original cast members will move on. One day, someone will say a real goodbye. And when that moment arrives, it could change the franchise forever. For now, however, fans are still processing the chaos created by one simple social media post. Some continue defending Kyle, saying people overreacted to a heartfelt message. Others remain skeptical and believe the story isn't over yet. A few fans are convinced that major announcements are still coming and that the Instagram caption was only the beginning. Whether those theories turn out to be true remains to be seen. But one thing has become crystal clear. Viewers are paying closer attention than ever before. Every interview, every photograph, every cryptic message, everything is now being viewed through the lens of one big question. What is Kyle Cooke's future with Summer House? Ironically, the answer may not even be known by Kyle himself. After 10 years of cameras, friendships, and non-stop drama, it's possible that he's simply taking time to appreciate the journey and think about what he wants next. Sometimes people become emotional not because they're leaving something behind, but because they suddenly realize how much their lives have changed. That may be exactly what happened here. A nostalgic moment became a headline. A reflective caption became an internet controversy. And an emotional post turned into one of the biggest Bravo discussions of the week. In many ways, the entire situation shows just how powerful reality television can be. Fans don't just watch these personalities on screen. They grow up with them. They celebrate their victories, react to their heartbreaks, and become emotionally attached to their stories. That's why the thought of Kyle stepping away hits so many people unexpectedly hard. For some viewers, it would feel like saying goodbye to a familiar chapter of their own lives. But at least for now, that chapter isn't over. The parties may be different, the friendships may have changed, and the future may be uncertain. Yet Kyle Cooke remains one of the faces of Summer House. The rumors may continue. The speculation may keep growing. And every new social media post will probably spark another round of theories. But until an official announcement is made, fans can only wait and wonder. Because in the unpredictable world of Bravo, today's emotional Instagram caption could become tomorrow's shocking reality. And after the frenzy surrounding this latest controversy, one thing is certain. If Kyle Cooke ever truly decides to walk away from Summer House, it won't just be another cast exit. It will be the end of a television era that millions of fans have been watching for more than a decade.